Hello, everybody. Welcome to Watch First Podcast, episode 71. I'm your host, the enlightened and excited Eddie V. Joining me is the wise Wisconsinite, Mr. Jesse Douglas.
How's it going?
The gunner hunter himself, Mr. LeRon Dawkins.
How's it going?
And though he's not from Boston, we still love him. It's the Austin Campbell.
Yep. Boston, Austin.
Boston, Austin.
You know how many times I've heard that one?
Boston, Austin.
Hello, everybody. How you guys doing?
Pretty good. Happy Saturday. This might be a point of contention for some people out there, but happy PlayStation 5 if you got them. If not, you know, we feel you. We're right there with you.
Same with Series X and Series S.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever I get mine.
Smoke them if you got them.
Yes. The next gen is here. There's, a lot of people have been gaming. They've been enjoying it. Some people have been having some problems. Some people had to take some of their systems back. But people who do got systems and everything, they are really happy and really enjoying that content. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later on in the show. But we're going to get into some quick housekeeping. This is episode 71 of the Boss Rush Podcast. Each and every week, we come together to talk about games and everything we love about them with our friends. You can join us live on Saturdays at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv/BossRushGames Live and be a part of the conversation. But if you can't join us live, no big deal. You can head over to youtube.com/BossRushGames and BossRushGames.com to watch the show or listen on your podcast service of choice. Remember to subscribe, follow, rate, and review wherever you consume us. It helps us out with discoverability, and check out our family of shows wherever you listen to your podcast. And if you guys want to check out Recap, is finally debuting. It is out there. Me and LeRon talked about Ghost in the Shell. Do go check out that episode. It was such an amazing time doing it.
That was a fun show.
It really is, dude. And I was just going to give you guys heads up later on in the line. We do cover Event Horizon, so do be ready for that episode. That one was a great one too. But yes, Recap is available for you guys to check out. It's part of our Boss Rush expansion pass, so you will be seeing more episodes of that coming out and more content going out. Also, check out Benny. That is Celeste, David, and Dan's also new show talking about things that's controversial that has been banned and the reasons why. So do check out that episode also on Boss Rush Games. That's part of our expansion pass. Check out Arsenal X this week. The guys do the history of Halo, kind of talk about it, celebrate it, and trying to see what the future of what Halo Infinite will be talking about. Check out Crossroads also this episode. LeRon, you want to break down what happened this week on Crossroads?
This week on Crossroads, it was basically just PlayStation Love Fest. we were getting ready. We were just getting ready for some things for the PS5 launch that happened on Thursday. We also shared the love that happened on a previous Boss Rush podcast show, and we talked about our favorite moments of Mass Effect, given that the new the remastered trilogy is coming out. And what was the other thing? We talked about something big. It was a big deal. What was it? I can't remember.
I mean, we also talked about the new Spider-Man suits. We talked about all the pain that goes with memory and PlayStation. And storage.
Yes, so you guys can check that out on Crossroads, and they go live on Tuesdays at 8:30. Definitely with Arsenal X, they go live on Sundays at 8:30, so you guys can check that out. On Nintendo Power Block, we actually talked about a little bit of the Mass Effect, and we kind of talked about the the stats of Nintendo Switch and some of their games, and kind of hypothesized where will Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity lay at. So do check that out. And our great friend David Laxby, he has gave us the Game Fact Events, one of our new sections, where he's talking about Nintendo and the Seattle Mariners and how Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball came to the Super Nintendo. So do go check that out. Also check out Destiny Towers Casual. Beyond Light is available, so Corey and our good friend Josh, they go and cover that, so check everything that out. But that's this week for or I should say last week, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, but this is this present week for our content that is up, and you guys can read that. We also got some writings on it, which we're going to be talking about. One of them that I did for our show, but check out not Austin's. Check out our good friend Logan. He has gave an epilogue or eulogy in a sense to the PlayStation 4, so do check that out with it. And then I'll talk about the one that I wrote that you guys should all check out. But yeah, we're gonna jump into some mini boss talk because we got a lot of topics and everything. The Switch has topped U.S. console sales for nearly 2 years, and I had to turn it to the NBA gym and just say it's on fire. Like without a shadow of doubt, the Switch has been a hit kind of since its release in 2017, and it just continues to grow. Definitely with the pandemic that happened, it was harder really to find a Switch. It became people's like primary system, where PlayStation 4 and Xbox One and Xbox One X kind of became secondary. So what did you guys think about this? Like, is it good to see that Nintendo is in a better position, or has Nintendo always been in a better position, but a lot of people just didn't recognize it?
I'm gonna let you gentlemen go first.
Well, I'll go first. So, like, like obviously with the Wii U, like I think the thing is they kind of, I don't know if it was just, technology wasn't cheap enough to basically be where they are right now with the Switch. And so like the whole like tablet thing was a great idea, but like obviously like what people wanted was an actual console that could literally be brought anywhere and then also play on the TV, in what we got in the Switch. And so like I think a lot of people just skipped that console just because it wasn't quite what they wanted, or like what
Expected.
or more so like it didn't have the mass appeal that like you still had the people who are really big Nintendo fans who are gonna buy the Wii U, but for more the majority of people it just wasn't quite what they wanted. They either wanted just a traditional console or a handheld, like, because no one can deny that Nintendo has just always been the best at handhelds, and for them to basically turn their main console into a handheld, is something I think that we've kind of thought about, in the back of our minds for a long time would be a great thing. And, once they did it, I mean, it proved itself, that, I mean, that's what people want, especially, in Japan and stuff like that. A lot of things people play on phones and stuff like that. And, just doing stuff on the trains,
Which
like it just was a perfect fit for where technology is going with
which
phones and stuff.
which
So.
is good that you mentioned Japan, because we were talking later on earlier in the week about how Nintendo has a whole like 83%
Yeah.
sales wise in Japan, and
Mhm.
Sony and Microsoft kind of share really Nintendo and Sony and Microsoft. If you could find anything in Japan, they would have something there. Like
One thing
Yeah,
I
they're
was one
mostly
thing
PC there. They're mostly
Yeah.
PC in
see,
Japan.
yeah. Go ahead, Laura.
one thing I'll say about Nintendo is Nintendo knows how to market to their people. That's one thing.
Mhm.
That's the reason why it's so successful over here in the West in the United States. Like they know how to market. They you know, as a gamer, Nintendo is like my last place system. Just speaking honestly, I mean, like I buy usually a Sony for PlayStation first. I'm a PC gamer, so and I work in the IT field, so PC is my main rig. And then like my optional one, because of the way Microsoft has marketed how they do their software, like there's no need for me to buy an Xbox, even though I may finally take a plunge and buy my very first Xbox in like forever with a Series S. But Nintendo knows how to market, you know, their product as well as their games to their audience. They know their audience basically inside and out. I'm not their audience. Like I just happen to be one of those. I just happen to be one of those random people that buy a system because like I enjoy what they have to offer. But I mean, you know, for the most part, like most of the games that Nintendo comes out with, I don't just run for. I have like a set few, but where I was actually going with this is that the main reason why Nintendo like has able to maintain and be a top selling
Platform
manufacturer,
holder.
yeah, platform holder, is honestly because the marketing is there. The marketing is solid, and they don't try to razzle dazzle you with a bunch of hardware. In all seriousness, all honestly, okay, because we have the NES, we had the Super NES, and then the big dog came, Sony PlayStation. That came, and the way Nintendo was still doing things, it still felt like, you know, like the system you grew up with, and to a certain extent, the Nintendo systems did not grow up as we grew up. So basically, the gaming base splintered off. Like you know, like the company started developing games for people that had actually matured but were still
Mhm.
gamers and stuff like that. That's why it
And
took that's why it took Nintendo a long time to start getting rated M titles and stuff like that. Like I mean, it was literally like pulling teeth for the Nintendo 64 to get some M rated titles. They eventually got them, but I mean, it was
they
like
got him in. They got him on Super NES in rated games.
I don't remember any
Mortal
Super.
Kombat 2 was the first M rated game.
That was T.
No, Mortal Kombat 2 is a rated M.
Okay, I won't argue with you because you probably know better than I do. But
So after
I could have
yeah, so
sworn,
at,
I could have.
yeah, so after Night Trap went through everything in within Congress and everything, they ended up making the ESRB. And once they got a straight rating system, Nintendo decided to change it because there was, of course, they lost on Mortal Kombat, but the first one, when Mortal Kombat 2 came out, they put an M on there and they started doing mature games for Super Nintendo because they did the fatalities and blood and stuff on there.
Mhm.
And that became a big seller for Mortal Kombat 2 on Super Nintendo. So they had M-rated games. It all started with the 16-bit.
Okay, okay. I'm 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 not gonna. That just shows you right there how much I kept track of Nintendo after a certain point because when the Super NES was out, I just Sega Genesis. So and there was already readily available like mature titles out there. I'm not gonna say M rated titles, but there's already readily mature titles out there.
Sure
So
stuff,
so I
yeah.
didn't keep track of it. You know, plus Nintendo has had a reputation for playing it safe. That's why I was saying when we got to the PlayStation 1 era and more mature games for people who had grown up playing video games showed up, that's when we saw a division. And actually I will speak a little bit more about that when we get to your topic a little bit later.
Yeah. So so um Austin, go ahead, because I'm gonna speak on this after you. Go ahead, Austin. What did you think about the success and just any thoughts about Nintendo in the sense with their sales and how things work for them?
Well, I think I have a couple of thoughts, but the first one that I really like to point out is the reason why it's so big in Japan is the same reason that PS Vita was big in Japan. Everyone is commuting, everyone had wanted that handheld, and PS Vita, as much as I love it, it's the Switch is a better version of it.
That's the
It just
truth.
don't have
That's the truth.
It doesn't have the PlayStation trophies, and that's the only reason why I don't like it as much. But I mean, that's just I'm one out of a million that has that thought process.
Mhm.
But the other thing is I'm super excited that Nintendo has the success because,
Mhm.
like Jesse said, I mean, the Wii U was just kind of, and I think a lot of people got confused that it's the same as the Wii, but with the tablet. And if I don't like those kind of games, or like, and then remember the U draws that were on the regular or on the first Wii, like I think that's what people were starting to think it was, and it wasn't enough to
I
sell
think
on a
you
console.
I think U-Draw came to, was it Wii U? Only U-Draw
I
came?
think it may have been on Wii U, but
It
I
was,
thought
yeah.
there was a
Yeah.
drawing like some
Right,
kind of tablet
because that
attachment
was
you could do to
Ubisoft.
the Wii.
And yeah, because U-Draw was big on Wii U, and when they did the second version, they brought it to 360 and I think PS3,
Yeah.
and it didn't sell well.
Yeah. So I think it just wasn't enough to sell people on a new, what was it? Was it 350 when it came out? Or was it 400 when the Wii U came out?
It was 300.
It was 300. Okay.
Yeah.
I could have
So I
sworn,
think
it
it's
was,
just
I
not
could have sworn it
enough.
was a little bit higher.
No, it was
But
300 because it was 249 for the white one that had like the lesser gig, and then it was 300 for the
Mhm.
black one, and then they got rid of the white one and just made the basic 300 black one.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there was just not enough. And then a lot of people were like, man, what if Nintendo goes downhill and they have to put their games on Xbox and PlayStation? There's all this. I was like, you don't want that because, first of all, it won't go like that. They won't make the classic Nintendo games and put it on Xbox and PlayStation. They'll go the mobile route or they'll go the handheld route. They won't stop making consoles. They just won't make the home console that we really want, that from like N64 and GameCube and so on and so forth. So I'm personally excited to see the Switch happen because it lets Nintendo make the games that they make.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're gonna get a lot of Mario runs, Mario Kart. And if you like those on mobile, that's fine. I personally don't. It just doesn't have the same charm as it does on the console versions and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but those are my two thoughts. I really love Nintendo. It's their second to PlayStation for me, but I'm glad to see the success they have. I don't want anyone to not have success so they can put their games on my console because it never works out that way.
That's
a
true.
dream world that we live in where every game goes on one console and it all works out the same. It won't work that same. There's only so much.
It's actually what we've seen so far. It's actually the opposite. If you get more success, you have chance of seeing games from other consoles come
to yours.
Like, Cuphead's on Switch and now more PlayStation games coming to PC and stuff and
So my thing is, I think Nintendo has always been successful. They always been innovative and always thought about innovation. Of course, their controller and what they could do with graphics. It was kind of surprising seeing what Nintendo could do with HD, because Wii U was a thing, and it was just like, oh my goodness, just looking at Pikmin 3 and looking at the water and the fruit and everything. It was just like Nintendo has done completely something different with HD with Wii U.
Actually, Nintendo owes a lot of that credit to Nvidia, though. Nintendo owes a lot of that credit to Nvidia, the partnership with Nvidia currently, because I mean, and if they stay with Nvidia, like having access to the DLSS and the and all that stuff, the Switch 2 or the Switch Pro or whatever they decide to call it is going to be a beast.
And that's why I asked you what if they went, if they, because I think they're still going to use with NVIDIA. That's why I asked you around. I'm like, can you picture them going with AMD and they get something like their latest chip?
In all honesty, if they go with AMD, that punches Nvidia in the nose, because in all seriousness, in my opinion, and this is just me as an IT guy right now, AMD is making some really big leaps and bounds into both Intel and Nvidia's territory.
Yeah.
They're still low man on the totem pole competitors, but they're another option, and they're actually a more budget friendly option for the most part. And
you know how Nintendo is with budget and being friendly. If they could get something, if they could push something out on the cheap, look at someone did, I think Kotaku or someone or Vice, they just put out a story about Gunpei Yokoi. I believe that's his name, who was the innovator of Game Boy, and how he took these lesser chips, gave that to create the Game Boy, and look how well that sold, and how that was in the handheld. And Nintendo has always been able to be like, let's take the lowest tech, do something that no one have never done, and really showcase what we could get out of it, and still get people.
People are still making walls of Game Boys that they use to make like music and stuff. Like I don't know if you guys have ever seen that, but there's like these there's a couple of people on YouTube that I've watched that like they have it's like a whole wall, and it's all Game Boys, and they're all hooked together to process to use as a thing to make electronic music. It's crazy.
It's great.
Each one plays a different tune.
the thing with Wii U, why it wasn't successful in a lot of people's eyes, is I don't think it's mostly Nintendo's fault. I think it's mostly was third party fault. Third party during that time with 360 and PS3, the ideal of their sales on those consoles will be better. It wasn't with online functionality always for all games. They really
There's something else in the background about that because Nintendo had a bad relationship with third party developers for a while,
and that was because
and the Switch helped repair it.
And that all started with definitely with the N64 because
Yep.
cartridges were expensive, and while you have all of these games on PS1, same as you have with all of the shovelware and stuff, is that this was easier to print, so they could put any kind of game on it and put it out on PS1, but you had a lot of games on PS1 compared to N64.
There was
but
also
you didn't
another
have
problem.
that.
There was also another problem. Nintendo had such a stranglehold on what they would allow on their system.
Yes, and during this time, just to give everybody a little bit preference, this is before Iwata, because I think Yamauchi, who was president of Nintendo before he passed away, he was still running the company behind the scenes in that way. When GameCube came out, that's the time that Iwata took over, and then you start seeing this turnaround for Nintendo, because he had GameCube, he had Wii, and he had part of Wii U and stuff, and that's how we got the Nintendo Directs. That's how Nintendo was changing their landscape of how people view them. Definitely here in America than they were in Japan, because Japan, regardless of when you don't think about gaming in Japan, that's a whole nother scenario of stuff of games and a place where how they get their culture and stuff. So Nintendo really had to try to get on. I think with Switch, they really made up a lot of things up with a lot of people. Losing Square Enix was a big hurt to them. Losing Konami was a big hurt to them and even Capcom, that was a big hurt to them because those three companies is kind of what made the NES, kind of what made Super Nintendo,
Yeah.
and everything. Dragon Quest Warrior or Dragon Quest at that when Dragon Warrior before it became Dragon Quest was big in Japan. Like they would take the Tuesday off from school. People would line up to do that for NES and Super Nintendo. You never got anything like that till like almost a couple of years in the past here for America. They had to make all of that up. So when Square Enix got with Nintendo and started just putting the games out on the handheld stuff, they started seeing money. Konami still had Konami switched and stayed with Sony because of the success of Metal Gear, but then Konami kind of realized that we might want to get back with Nintendo and put something out, and look at how Bomberman has done for them with on Switch. It really made Konami be in the best light even after Kojima stuff. And Capcom.
Hold on a second. You really think Bomberman put Konami back on the map for Nintendo?
A lot of people.
That game wasn't great.
Right?
For
Right?
what it
Really.
was,
Right?
for what it was when Bomberman was, because Bomberman was part of Konami's release launch thing, and it was selling. Bomberman was like almost the hottest thing, close to where Puyo Puyo Tetris was for Switch. So people were buying it, and don't forget, Konami was getting trashed because of what they did to Kojima.
Well,
And
hold on. I think the reason why, once again, it goes to how the games are marketed on the Switch. Like, I mean, I guarantee you, yeah, like they'll get some breakaway sales if they re-release Twin Snakes on the Switch, the GameCube. Well, I mean, first they need to make sure they do it better than they did the re-release of Mario Sunshine. But anyway, if they re-released like Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes on the Switch, it would be their number one selling title for a couple of months at least. But basically, it's all about how they market their games. They can be guaranteed another a Silent Hill would sell well on the Switch. So they had to go the route of where like all the other titles.
The question about Silent Hill, would it sell well anyway? Because after 2, it's kind of been like one of their games down.
Silent Hill still has a good turnout
I still like it.
yeah, Silent Hill still has a good turnout for the most part. I mean, it's not breaking down doors like Resident Evil and Demon Souls does. It's not breaking down doors, but Silent Hill still turns a profit for Konami when they release a new Silent Hill game. I have yet to hear, like, because I have friends who love Silent Hill. I have yet to hear them say, "Oh, this game bombed." No, they still get it, they still play it, and they still have the viability. But
the thing is, I do think though that if they were to remaster or redo the Silent Hill games like Resident Evil did, I do think that they would be right up there, if not, like selling just as much as Resident Evil's games did.
Yeah.
Because the like those same people that bought Resident Evil, I guarantee the majority of them would have always been into Silent Hill as well. I know I personally, like I was too, like I love the movie and like, so like they actually had a decent movie, unlike Resident Evil.
That first Silent Hill movie was amazing. Didn't they make a sequel? They made a sequel, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
I did not watch that one.
That one is like almost Silent Hill 3, I think, when the girl was in the mall and stuff. They were trying to go for that one. Yeah, but Silent Hill won the movie. Yeah,
but
go ahead,
circling back to Bomberman though, like they had to make a game that they knew fit in the niche of what Nintendo Switch and what Nintendo games are about. They couldn't take a chance and drop like the Phantom Pain or Silent Hill 4 or or some of their or even Metal Gear Solid Rising Revengeance. I'm not even sure how well that would take to the, even though technically
Revengeance didn't do good.
Well, what I'm saying, but it might have had a better chance on the Switch though, because it was more of an arcade style game. So there's that possibility.
This is the thing about it. It was Platinum. So like Platinum Games made that for Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. Platinum made that with Konami. So if they, and that was weird. And don't forget, this is after the fact that Platinum, I think, they did Bayonetta 2 already, and it may have been after.
This is before Bayonetta 2.
So then Platinum was getting work, but they wasn't getting that kind of like praise like Bayonetta 2 gave, in a sense. It's very weird.
So ultimately, it's all about it's all about marketing. That's really what it is. They have to find their niche, because like they have to tread lightly. They've got the one side, which is a minefield of like they still have to rebuild their reputation with their third party developers. Like third party developers are coming in a little bit more steadily now, saying, "Hey, we want to put this game on your system." And now, but there was a time when nobody wanted to turn around, because like when I was working at GameStop, it was funny because people would be asking me all the time, "Hey, where's this game at?" Or "Where's this at?" and "Where's this out?" And we're like, "It's not on the Wii." And we have to tell them that seriously, knowing that they are a Wii customer, a Wii shopper, and stuff like that.
I had that at Toys R Us. Everybody was just like, "Is this game is Banjo-Kazooie on Wii U?" I'm just like, no, like stuff. Someone came up and asked, "Was Ratchet and Clank was on Wii U?" I'm like, no, that's Sony. And literally, I had to drive customers to the section to show them this is the game on this system, because they're the ones that made it. I just showed you everything that's in the Nintendo section.
Well, no, I wasn't talking about mainly like first party titles. I was talking about that Bomberman.
I'm talking about any title.
No, I'm talking like games like that Bomberman title. That Bomberman title could have easily been multi-platform. And that's what I'm talking about. Games that we know are multi-platform. In retail we do get the random customer that doesn't understand that Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Daxter, Uncharted are Sony titles. Halo, Microsoft titles. We get that, but a good portion of the gaming generation and community, they know that these games are either single platform or multi-platform.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's.
Go ahead, Austin.
Oh, I was going to say that, going back to what you said earlier about Nintendo being innovative, I think both of these things are like research and development, where Konami knows that they put Castlevania remasters on the Switch, they're going to sell. They know if they put Contra remasters on the Switch, they're going to sell. But if we put Bomberman on the Switch and it sells, we know we can sell anything. Sure. And so I think that's what LeRon was saying is, If we put
Sega-
Bomberman out there and it sells, we know we're gonna be all right, and we
Yeah.
can
Sega,
continue.
Sega did that with Puyo Tetris. They put that game was only exclusive on Switch, and when that game came
Actually,
out,
aren't those Puyo titles always on Nintendo systems though?
No.
No.
I
no,
can't remember.
Puyo,
I can't remember seeing Puyo was on the Vita, I believe, but they're on handhelds. In all seriousness,
Puyo
But it's on
Puyo,
consoles
I
now.
Puyo had a different name because it was the jail ones that connected. They had a different name, and they were those kind of games weren't big, but because Sega somehow released it on, because I don't know how even Sega got to Tetris.
I remember Puyo being way back in freaking Dreamcast days. I remember I had a Puyo game.
I mean, it is that old.
Yeah.
It is that old.
It is,
Yeah.
it is. Oh, I just think it went under a different name in America at the time. We could research that later. But yeah, when Puyo Tetris was doing like mad numbers and selling out, then Sega decided to put it on PlayStation 4. I don't think it came out for the Xbox. But they put it on PlayStation 4 like almost a couple of months after the game came out for Switch, and then nobody touched it on PlayStation 4.
Because
It's crazy.
PlayStation gamers don't play those type of games. That's what I'm saying. Nintendo knows where their gamers are. That's why these games sell like gangbusters, and that's why these systems jump off the shelves. That's basically what I've been trying to say this whole time. I guess I've been talking in circles.
No, you're right.
It's okay
you're right.
though.
You're right.
PlayStation got Tetris Effect, and that's all that matters.
I
Especially in
No,
VR.
Xbox.
mean,
Yeah.
are we gonna play Tetris Effect or are we just gonna play Lumines? Because I'd rather play Lumines.
Well, have you played Tetris in VR?
I have not. No.
It's amazing. I don't
is it?
understand it.
Is it?
Yeah, a lot of people like Tetris Effect.
Yeah.
I don't have the best relationship with VR because I have astigmatism, so like my eyeballs do these weird things when the visor's on my
Yeah.
head.
And don't forget that yes, you guys got Tetris Effect. Xbox Series X got Tetris Effects. I forgot what it is now because it's another name. Everybody's enjoying that, and we got Tetris for Switch
99.
where 99, which
Yeah.
people are loving. So
I'm not loving it because I don't have online.
You know what?
I
Wait,
have
you don't have the internet?
No. I don't have.
No, you
I
have
got
to-
Switch online.
Which is fine.
You didn't
Wait,
pay
wait,
the $10 a year.
Wait. Yeah, I don't have online. How am I hooking up with y'all right now?
You mean all you had to do is pay $10 and you can play Mario Kart online
Listen.
and all the NES and SNES games, and you were like, nah, that's not a good deal.
Listen,
$10
all
bucks
this.
for a year?
Listen. Everybody knows me from Crossroads. Know that I'm not a multiplayer gamer, and I don't like the idea of buying, like an online subscription just to play online multiplayer games. When it's like, I don't really play them, but y'all basically gated a Tetris game, which I will play behind an online system, and I was like,
Which is only $20. But you know what? Everybody in the chat, let us know what did you think. And do you feel like are you happy with Nintendo's success? Because I definitely am.
oh, I'm happy. I'm happy.
And I
Yeah.
because Nintendo is my system. I it's my number
Oh,
one.
we know it's your system.
Oh yes. I heard you, Crossroads. I know the thing that you're doing to me. That I'm in the pocket. I know the thing.
There's a reason this was the first topic of the show.
Hey, that's why half of the Crossroads team is on this show today to keep you in check, buddy.
Crossroads like to throw the shades to me. AX, when I come on, I can't say Nintendo on it because I got to throw money in the jar.
Well, it's not that you can't say Nintendo on it. It's just that every single thing that we talk about, Okay, now this is why Nintendo is better than.
This is why Halo would run better on the Switch.
And you know what? Jesse know me to a T. We have been podcasting for like 4 years. Jesse know me to the T. And like I said, I love Nintendo. I love Microsoft. I love Sony.
Well, and that's why I'm glad that you're hosting, Pow Block, because it's like the perfect show for you.
I'm
You guys
I'm trying to get on
Oh.
AX and I'm trying to get on Crossroads, and I know how to keep my Nintendo fandom, but I trust me, I have a lot to say about Microsoft and Sony.
Austin, I just made clips out of that whole little exchange just now, especially about the Halo running on Switch. Oh my, that's gonna be sound bites on Twitter for the rest of the weekend.
I know. But everybody, we're gonna move on to our next story because it seems that Nintendo might have a console. This is the most bunkers thing. So there's a Bojangles theme Series X that you guys are able to win. You guys can check the picture out, and all our news stories come from Game Informer. So do go check them out and go support those crew at Game Informer. I seen this and Celeste had me dying. I'm like, what is this? Shout out to Celeste, she's part of another Zelda podcast and Nintendo Power Block here on Boss Rush, and she does 1v1s. I seen this and I'm just like, what is this craziness? What is this mess?
Hey, if it gets me a news Xbox Series
You know
X,
what? You know what? Yeah, I don't care what color it is.
It's right on there.
So the design of the system is in a box of a Bojangles, and it has a disc. Yes,
and
and
it has the handle too.
I laughed when I seen this. I actually thought somebody was making this up. And sure enough, like, no, this is real.
Man, it's like, what is this?
But what are your guys' thoughts on it? LeRon, what is your thoughts on this?
Man, okay, when I saw Celeste throw it up in the chat, I was like, is this real life right now? I cannot believe what I'm saying, because I literally thought that this was like the Bojangles, like the 12-piece chicken box. with the Xbox shape and colors. I was like, man, oh man, like, I don't have anything to say besides I need to go buy bacon, egg, and cheese combo and get a game ticket.
And see, I don't have a Bojangles around me. So.
Yeah.
Big.
I was gonna ask
bigger
you on that. Who has a Bojangles?
I've got one like 5 minutes up the road, and if I happen to be nearby the military base, like there's one right there too.
Is it?
Lucky.
How good is it compared to other? Because it's a chicken place, right?
Okay, yeah. When it comes to fried chicken, I'm gonna say that them and Popeyes duke it out. Like Bojangles has an edge in one way, and Popeyes has an edge in certain other ways. I want to say the main edge for Bojangles is they do something with the seasoning that actually gets under the skin into the chicken. So
see that's what was key.
So
if I try Bojangles and it's because I don't think Popeye's chicken is popping. I just don't.
It's their sandwiches and stuff. Like it's everything else. Like
well, here's what I'm gonna say. Like Popeye's chicken compared to KFC, I'm gonna eat Popeyes.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
gonna eat KFC.
You eat KFC? Ooh, you're poor.
Can we all agree
your
that
poor
it's better
stomach.
than Churches?
Yes.
Churches is the
Oh
worst.
yeah. Churches.
Yeah.
Well, the bar is on the floor for Churches.
The thing.
Now,
the
getting
thing
extra
with
fried chicken at a church is different. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, yes, very different.
the thing with KFC for me is like I like for the longest time I hadn't eaten there in a while, and then they came out with that Nashville hot chicken and stuff. And
Okay, now that is good.
Love
that is
stuff.
That's the thing about it.
You haven't?
Austin,
Oh,
you
it's
gotta
so
try
good.
It.
It's so good.
Me and Jesse was. Yeah, me and Jesse was. Me and Jesse was on the phone. We were Skype calling or something because you told me about it. I'm like, okay. I knew about it, but I didn't go get it. So I went and tried it. And me and Jesse literally was talking about it. I'm like, oh, the spice is hot. It is really hot, but it's just like it makes the chicken taste way better than the original one.
Yeah,
that's true.
I mean, it's a mild heat. It's one of those that adds up over time as you eat more. But yeah, it's like an oil based, basically, like kind of sauce that goes over it, and it's really good. Like that's what got me going back there, because I really didn't go to KFC much. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like their extra crispy, but we actually got people always look at me confused when I say this, but honestly, the best chicken place that we have in town is Pizza Ranch. Pizza Ranch has the best chicken that you can find around here,
And
and it's
Jesse,
not even a pizza, or it's not even a chicken place.
chicken
It's a
place.
pizza.
and Jesse, you already know it's on the list when I come up there.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
we got about what 5 or 6
Their
places
chicken
to hit.
is so good.
Yeah.
That's
So-
all I eat. I don't even eat. I mean, I do eat some of the pizza because you can, like, basically you can tell them what you want on your pizza and they'll make one specifically for you, even though it's a buffet technically. But yeah, but I go there just for their chicken, honestly.
Yeah, because see, I do KFC because I love before they took it away, they honey barbecue boneless chickens. Man, they was hitting the spot.
That stuff's
yeah.
good. I've had
Yeah.
that one.
See, I kind of pick and choose when I go to KFC because I mean, like I'm one of those, and you know what, as a black person, I'll just go ahead and say it. I was one of those early people that spotted when they changed their recipe. I was one of those people. I was like, this is not the same. And he immediately changed how often I went to KFC after that. Like I get their chicken strips for sure. Some of their chicken sandwiches I get, but usually I am not going there for the original recipe or the extra crispy. But I am usually going there for the hot wings, of course the Nashville stuff.
Yeah.
All that stuff. But every KFC I have out here in my area is either attached to a Pizza Hut or Taco Bell. So
you got twofers.
Yeah, we were like that. We had KFC in the Pizza Hut close to my house, but they got rid of the Pizza Hut because they opened a different one like in another city close to us. So it just became full KFC. And I normally get KFC after church or if I'm going to work, and so I might hit them after the podcast. I don't know yet.
You have a better stomach than I do. Let's just put it that way.
I'm definitely getting some kind of chicken after this.
I know. I'm about to run my ass to Bojangles after this now.
Hey, LeRon, you already know. You hit Bojangles, send me the pic. Yeah. Jesse knows too, because when Jesse, you was up in Michigan, you was sending all the food pics, and I was just like, "Yep, see Jesse."
Yeah, because they have a big boy. They have a big boy up there where we go.
Oh, I heard that. I've heard of that place.
Yeah, and they've got an amazing breakfast buffet that I try to go to when we're there. I don't even really eat their burgers and stuff a whole lot. We usually just go there and hit up the breakfast buffet on Sunday before we are like 4 or 5 hour drive back home.
Dude, when I go to Indiana and I'm with my good friend Larry, and Sundays we'll hit this place called Evil Check buffet, like bomb buffet like crazy. Because he knows when I come up there, we have to hit that spot. We might not be able to hit it now because of the pandemic, but years in the past, man, they had like these silver dollar pancakes. They had like these breakfast pizzas and everything. Nobody in Illinois was touching them. And I literally came back. The first time I tried them and came back, I was just like, I literally was willing to drive to Indiana almost every day to get food there. Definitely from them. That's how good they were. I was just like, this place has trained my tongue to not like anything else. But
welcome to Snack Rush.
Hey, Nintendo is for everybody, you know. So, but we're gonna move on because Yukes is kind of back in the building. All Elite Wrestling unveils that 3 video games are in development, and they're working with
I'm
Yukes.
excited for this.
Yes, they have a picture out. But you know, Yukes is the people who made like WWE games before. Like they made
when they were good, when they were like the place to be, basically.
Yeah. In the story, it says the title will feature a gameplay model after the classic WWF No Mercy. It features an exaggerated art style similar to WWE 2K Battlegrounds. But you guys can read about that. Just hearing Yukes in wrestling, like, and them given time to really make this game, I think WWE 2K could if you get it right, WWE 2K could just wrap it up. What do you guys think?
I think they need to go the full route of recreating the N64 games, but like with better graphics and and still make it make them look more realistic, but yet still keep that charming, like our almost cartoonish kind of look to it, like they had in the original N64 games, because there's still a whole massive community online of people who like have taken those original N64 games, and they've basically created their own, where they have like all the federations and groups of wrestling from all over the world, and they have like every single person who's ever wrestled basically created inside that game, and you can play it. Like, I think it's free even on PC, and like you can just go on there and you can just play, like, basically any person that's ever wrestled has now been added to those like old school N64 style wrestling games, and you can just download it on your computer. I think if they were to try to tap into that community, I think they could sell well. I mean, like, I personally would love to see one of those old, 64 style games come back again, and just like, but run super well and smooth, and and still look just the right amount better than those did. But you don't have to go for the ultra realism, because ultimately those games were all about how easy and fun they were to play. It wasn't about how much they, whether they looked like the people or not. It was, like it was just a lot of fun to play those games. Because like even the ones that came out for like the PlayStation and stuff, like, some of those were fine, but they still never caught on, to me at least, as much as those N64 games did. So I think what was kind of unique about those N64 ones, though, is that being on a cart, you could actually edit all the characters in the roster, and you could like say, hey, I want this person to be on NWO now, and like you could just kind of like really go crazy with what you wanted to do. Me and my friends used to like basically turn people into people that we liked from ECW or other wrestlers from other other places, and make them on those games, and just go crazy with it. Like, that was the whole fun of all that stuff. But yeah, like I just want something to go. I want it to go back to that, when it was about being a fun game, and not about trying to be super realistic, and just honestly just way too complex than it actually needed to be.
Right. And Austin, with you being from Trash Talk, and other sports stuff, and you guys got the wrestling podcast.
Yeah, Rope Talk.
Yes. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Trash Talk is for sports, and Rope Talk's for wrestling. But I know nothing about wrestling. I'm on Rope Talk for a 2-minute segment where me, as a person who knows nothing about wrestling, tries to predict who's gonna win matches, and so I'm just in for a fun little segment. But Logan, shout out to Logan, and then Nick, of course, shout out to Nick. They're all into wrestling and stuff like that. And I sent pictures of the AEW game to Logan, and I was like, hey, man, it doesn't look good, but if they're trying to do a sim, I think they're going to fail. But if they try to do an arcadey type game, I think they'll win. Because, and Jesse, you can correct me since you're clearly a wrestling fan from what I'm gathering right now, that WWE's got more star power than AEW right now, and so I don't think if they're trying to push a sim, I don't think they got enough pull with all their wrestlers that they're going to be able to sell or compete with WWE, even though their last game was trash, was bad. WWE 2K20 was bad. Even compared to like their other sim games. The last one I really played was 18, and it was fine, but I agree with you. My favorite WWE, the little wrestling I know, was from like No Mercy and the PS2 games. Though the fun arcade, just beat each other up. There's no really skill. You can button mash or whatever, but you're playing with your friends, and that kind of stuff I think will help. If they go down that route and really try to hone in on that, I think they can succeed. Because from what I can tell, from what I know, because I listen to Chris Jericho on like sports podcasts I listen to, and I listen to what he's talking about with AEW and stuff. While he's trying to sell positive, it definitely, I think they still have like this kind of identity crisis. And I think if they really push this arcade game and get kids involved and get stuff, they're going to be able to grow not only just their game, but also their wrestling league. So, but that's for me who knows nothing about wrestling. I mean, nothing. So,
well, yeah, and I think the thing is like, honestly, I think the majority of like hardcore wrestling fans, I think they are glad that simulator is there, but it's just it's been doing so poorly. They just have not been, like, it doesn't seem like they're putting the TLC into it that the fans want. And like, honestly, even like, I mean, I feel like wrestling games have always been like just about fun. Like even back like the WrestleMania games that you like, that was basically like a beat 'em up in a ring. Like with the Doink the Clown, and you had like like where you remember where it was the super arcadey, where it was just super, like when you punched, like things would fly out of them and stuff like that. And like,
yeah, that was the midway game.
Yeah, the midway game. Like that game was so much fun. And like, yeah, like as we've gotten further and further into the sim like world with that game, it just has lost its charm. And so I think if they can bring that charm back, I think if anything, it just needs to be more arcadey. Like another great game like for wrestling that, like, I think the only good wrestling games out right now are like the Fire Pro wrestling games. Like,
I've heard that game looks good.
Yeah, which like those games get it right. Like they're about the doing, being fun and like more arcadey and stuff. Like those still have that, that charm that the games used to have. So I think this is a good thing. And ultimately what I hope is that maybe 2K sees this, and I hope it sells well. I'm definitely interested in it, but if it can sell to a lot of people and get people's attention, maybe 2K will think again about what they're doing with their game. And I think it's just like this, the console generation. Like, we want to have good competition because that drives everyone to be better at doing things. And when you have the NFL games that are uncontested, and you have the WWE games that are uncontested, and like all these sports games are uncontested, and then we wonder why they're crap every year, because they don't have to be better. No one else is going to give you that experience.
Yeah.
So
I was about to just add on to that and talk about that, is the time, love, and care.
Yeah.
Each sport is going down, and I think that's probably why WWE 2K20 also kind of went down, because NBA 2K20 was probably the first year where everyone's like, all right, this is bad, because the microtransactions that are hitting hard.
Yeah.
And as someone who does EA, I can't even remember the EA subscription, EA Access, and plays Madden every year and plays NHL every year, it's all getting, I don't know if games are just getting so more expensive that they're not putting as much thought into it, because and not everyone, some people just like to play online. It's kind of like Call of Duty. Like, some people just want to jump in, do whatever.
Yeah.
But another big part of the community is we want seasons. We want our franchise modes to have a little more, not just like play this. And the My Career modes are failing, and almost every sport across the board, other than, and this is why I love Sony San Diego, is MLB The Show is a legit game that hasn't been flooded with microtransactions, and they're not really contested all that much.
Because they're the only baseball game, and they put in the work to make that game great.
Yeah.
LeRon, what are your thoughts on this?
I can't remember the last wrestling game I actually played. I want to say when Neo Geo arcade systems were out. Nah, I'm lying. Yeah, but Ring King was one of them from the Neo Geo days. But I think the last one I played was one of the SmackDown titles on PS1. Like I haven't actually played a wrestling game for a while. But the one thing that both Austin and Jesse were saying is like if they go the arcade route, they might just have like lightning in a bottle right there.
Midway, please bring back NFL Blitz so I could I could talk
no. They tried they tried bringing back NFL Blitz and it bombed because it wasn't what people wanted and expected.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Well,
they tried NBA Jam too.
Mutant League Football. That Mutant League Football game is fun. If you wanna like, but yeah, I mean that you're not getting the sports teams that you wanna see or whatever in those, but it's still a fun game for a football game.
Bring back Blitz, bring back Ballers, bring back backyard baseball, backyard football, all those.
Yeah.
Bring back Joe
Shoot, bring back the Street Series. If EA's looking like fix some of the things that's going on with their sports games and stuff, bring back all their Streets games. Bring back bring back some of their extreme sports games. Like I'm telling you, like if they make a brand new SSX game and it's actually worth a damn, I'm gonna buy it.
Well, that's what I'm excited about 2K being able to play NFL games is if they make a arcade version, then maybe EA will be like, hey, let's make Street now because now we have a competitor.
Yeah.
Can I get Triple Play back? Because I love Triple Play on the Sega Genesis. Like, that was the baseball game of mine. As much as the little King Griffey and the other games on the Super Nintendo, when it came to sports games, Sega Genesis was the system to play the EA sports games, and Triple Play was good. NHL hockey was whatever.
I mean, EA's got opportunities. I mean, shoot, they can resurrect Def Jam Fight for New York.
Yeah,
they can.
Well,
actually, maybe not Def, but you know what I'm saying, though.
Def Jam said, I don't know if you all saw this, but Def Jam put out a tweet that said that there will be information about.
Oh, really?
The game. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And
I guess
it's been like 2 or 3 months now. Nothing.
I guess Jay-Z. Jay-Z moves at a snail's pace, but when he does it, he does it right.
I want to fight his Post Malone. Come on.
We're gonna move on to the next story.
His power up as it goes in slow motion. He's got so much.
And there's auto tune in the background.
I want Snoop Dogg to have Martha Stewart come and his back up and just start beating on me.
We're gonna move on to the next story.
I'm sorry. I started that.
She
I'm sorry.
tosses him a joint and then he kicks you in the stomach.
But everybody, Xbox and Phil Spencer denied reports that Microsoft is acquiring Japanese studios. Everybody thought they were going to be probably independent of buying Konami or some Japanese studios. I'm glad that they're not buying Japanese studios because I think Microsoft and Japanese studios there's something about them that doesn't work for me. Like, once again, it's the Nintendo thing where Nintendo and a lot of Japanese companies work well together when they're bringing out games. I think it would help Microsoft to get footing to get more exclusives on that console. But Microsoft they really got to try to appeal to Japan, and I don't know if they did acquire the Japanese studio, that would be enough. But what are your guys' thoughts on it?
I think that's why you got the Yakuza timed exclusive. I think that's Xbox's kind of foot in the door kind of thing into appealing to a Japanese audience is getting Yakuza because they get it for 6 months. Mm-hmm. So I mean, and that's a pretty big pull. Yakuza has been pretty much associated with PlayStation, for its whole deal. So for it to get and the first Yakuza game that's supposed to be a turn-based game, that it's just like a really weird pull that Xbox did. But I think that's what they're trying to do is get into the Japanese audience.
And me and Jesse talked about this because I was just like with 0, 1, and 2 being on Game Pass, how has that I wonder how has that done with that
Mhm.
player base, because I haven't seen no one say anything for it. And people who are playing Yakuza, they
Oh,
may be playing it on Series X. I don't know yet. I've been seeing more of the PS5 and 4 version.
I've been seeing mostly on Xbox because of Game Pass. A lot of people that are finally like are playing it because it's
Hmm.
it's on Game Pass. They
Game
have
Pass.
Game Pass, and some of them, like a lot of people, like they're like, oh, I played this one, but I never really got a chance to play this one, and now they're playing them because with Game Pass. Yeah, like I think that's the thing is like like Game Pass like is proven that it's it's good for the consumer, and it's good for the companies, the developers and stuff, the people who make these games, because ultimately, like as a developer, you want people, as many people as possible, to play your games, and it's giving them a chance to get more exposure to people like me who aren't gonna buy something like that right away without
Well,
knowing anything about it. But if I get a chance to play it and play their other games, because it might be something that I'm not normally, interested in. Now
I
you have
think
my attention. Now I know whether I'm gonna like it or not, and now I'm much more, like it's a possibility that I'm going to buy, like
I
your
think that
next
was that
games
was
and stuff.
as I was going to get to, that they're hoping that people go out and buy it. So like
Yeah.
if you didn't finish it and you got, I guess, demo it or try it on Game Pass, once they take it off the service, they're hoping that you go back
Yeah.
and buy this game and pick it up.
But
I
they get a nice chunk of money just for having those games on there though too. I mean, like the developers, like I've heard some, like there's been some interviews with developers that I've listened to in the just recent past, and
Mhm.
like like they're not really allowed to go into numbers and stuff like that, and talk about things too much in detail, but like they've said that, yeah, like we're very happy with what we're getting out of Game Pass, and it's
And
so I mean, there, like sales of games after the fact is just a add-on or a plus to it, but
and everybody.
they're already getting some money for for being on that service in the first place.
Yeah.
And once again, everybody, our AX mascot, Lennon, has joined us as
Oh
always.
yeah,
Yes, he is our AX Arsenal X mascot. So normally when he comes in, I like to announce it, and he makes me want to throw out the X. So I gotta throw out the X.
we don't
But
even throw it up on the show anymore.
I'm so saddened. What about you, LeRon? What did you think of this?
Um, I feel like the answer Spencer gave us is kind of, it's a good answer. It's a safe answer also, because I feel like there's also a possibility that Japanese studios aren't ready to get in bed with Microsoft yet. Because
Mhm,
just because Microsoft has the money to buy a studio doesn't mean the studio has to say yes. And if the
mhm,
studio is not in any financial binds that they need the Microsoft's money, for example, like ZeniMax, for example, they don't have to say yes. So
mhm.
there is that possibility, because I'm thinking about,
Yes.
and once again, it's all about reputations and stuff. And Microsoft damaged their reputation day one with the original Xbox.
Mhm.
With the Japanese market, like their whole marketing blitz was how, they were trying to do it. They were trying to do a dig at PlayStation with the DualShock controllers were actually smaller than they are now. And they were trying to do a dig at Sony, and they accidentally insulted all the Japanese gamers out there by saying you have to have big hands to play with our controller and stuff like that. And it was one of those things. It did not go over well. And man, like the original Xbox system had very dismal sales in Japan. If not the rest of the world. And then so it's a good possibility that like Microsoft is currently in the process of trying to rebuild their relationship with Japanese studios and stuff like that. um but to look in the other direction though, I mean, let's let's be honest. I mean, like any of these companies that Microsoft might have their eye on and stuff like that, it's got to be what works for them, because almost every Japanese studio, with the exception of Nintendo, they release multi-platform, and they would have to possibly give up the rights to doing multi-platform stuff. And just like with how the whole landscape of gaming is, where like you have Konami, for example, markets their more mature games on Xbox and PlayStation, while we get games like Bomberman and stuff on the Switch and mobile platforms and stuff like that. They would be facing that road, and they probably do not want to give up that autonomy to do what they want to do.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned Nintendo. My thing was that a lot of Japanese developers work with Nintendo a lot for a lot of games. Kobe Tech, like the Kobe Tecmo, Capcom has worked with Nintendo. Square has worked with Nintendo. Bandai Namco works with Nintendo, definitely with Smash. And you just see the money that rolled in, definitely with Smash was on Wii U and 3DS, that people were buying both of it. The way that they did the Star Fox Arcade and Mario Kart Arcade, like
those are all exclusives.
well, yeah, but saying that those companies are working with Nintendo, not saying that making a certain game for Nintendo, is that those businesses has worked very well with Nintendo, and if that got taken away from them, and nothing. Go ahead, LeRon.
Well, the thing is though, is like we've already seen though that I mean, all that stuff would be taken care of in a deal if something was made. But I honestly don't think that Microsoft really would want to. I don't know if I don't know if it would really benefit them to buy it. Like in my opinion, I think they get just as much out of it having these companies put their games on Game Pass. Because and the thing is, like, let's say for whatever reason they did buy a studio, a Japanese studio. Like, they've made it pretty clear that, like, ultimately these studios that they're buying, it's still like up to them what they want to do. Like the guys for that made Cuphead and stuff, they said they really wanted to have that game on the Switch, and they said, oh, that's fine. Like, you can do that. Like, we don't mind if that's what you want to do. Like, we're going to support you. So, like, I do think that if something was to happen, it would just mostly be for Game Pass stuff, and maybe like an exclusive IP that doesn't exist yet. I think they're more interested in getting new stuff that would be, that would get the interest of the Japanese video gamers and bring new IPs there that would be like, okay, well, this is the first time you're seeing it. If you want to play this game, you'll have to have an Xbox or a PC,
And I think
and that's the thing, is PC too. They're fine. They've got PCs selling in Japan. They just
I think Microsoft is more focused on Western developers and publishers that they were to do business for their system, because they know that us as gamers will play a lot of their games on Xbox or even PlayStation in general.
Here's what if Microsoft wants to get a better foothold in the Japanese territories and stuff, they need to consider marketing, like doing a little bit of marketability towards games that actual Japanese players play. That's one thing, but that's a long road. I mean, seriously, like, that's going to take them at least the entire lifespan of the Xbox Series X and S right now to get started, because I mean, realistically speaking, it's going to take them just as long to get that base going as it took Nintendo to repair most of their woes with third-party developers.
And just like you said, LeRon, with the first story, it's all about marketing. Nintendo knows how to market. Microsoft gonna have to do the same thing.
If Microsoft gets some little bit more quirky games, I'm talking about like quirkier than like the stuff that they pigeonholed the Xbox 360 when they had to connect with all the like the Let's Dance games and all that stuff. They gotta get a little more outside the box. You like that, Sony. That is kind of crazy.
We don't need the Star Wars dance game, though. We don't need that.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because Sony, being a Japanese company, they have have a very nice foothold in both like the eastern and the western territories. So like they're kind of in the sweet spot, even though they only get like 10% of the overall revenue that video games generates over in Japan. Like they're still in a nice spot because I guarantee you, Microsoft would love to have 10.8% of the share versus 3.2% of the share.
Well, this is the thing with Sony, and then I'm gonna let you have the final word, Austin. Then we're gonna get into our analysis.
Phantasy Star Online 3.
Oh,
That's all they need
goodness.
to do is just put a Phantasy Star
You know,
Online 3 on Xbox.
So before you say something, LeRon, let me say this about Sony real quick. Sony, they do have a good foothold because a lot of Sony's developers are here in America, and they Team Eco, they're kind of, and this is maybe just me not knowing all of their developers. I think Team Eco is their only, or Team Japan or whatever, is their only Japanese developer.
You're talking about Japan Studio.
Japan Studio, yeah. And this is from a first party stance.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of their big hits for Sony is here in America with Naughty Dog, Sucker Punch. What else? Naughty Dog, Sucker Punch, and there was somebody else. Where
there's a ton. There's
Bend there's Studio Bend. There's
Insomniac.
Actually,
I have a Canada studio too.
Actually, they've got more worldwide studios. That's why Sony's games division is called Sony Worldwide. They have because we've got developers from Iceland. We've got developers from different parts of the EU. We've got Australian developers. Crazy enough, they're everywhere. Didn't they have a couple of studios open up in South Africa like in the past decade?
I think so.
Yeah.
I know I just know for their bigger hits, their big well-known hits is here in America. Mm-hmm. Where like From Software is like more supporting because that's their own. I mean, From Software is their own kind of thing, almost like Platinum in a sense. So that's what all I want to say about Sony. Go ahead, LeRon. What you was gonna say? Then, because you said Fantasy Star 3, and then also you have to answer.
No, yeah. Well, Fantasy Star 3. I don't know. Like Fantasy Star took so long. It took so long for Fantasy Star 2. Like I remember being hyped for it, and then they're like, "Oh, Fantasy Star 2 is out." I didn't even download it. That they're gonna have to come with something stronger than Fantasy Star. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Well,
and don't
maybe here.
Yeah,
but I mean in Japan and stuff like.
Oh yeah. It'll work.
That's what I'm saying is just things like that. Is if Xbox could get something that's really really big that hits it big there. All you need is like one big, games with service like that in Japan because. Like that's, or like not Crossfire. What's that game that they, Crossfire X. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That game that came to the series or is coming to the Series X that was super big in Japan or whatever. Like, like all you need is something that is like, that's massive over there. It might not be great doing well here, but if you're doing well there, that shows that you're trying to do something for them, and it just looks, much better. And Microsoft has made they have an office there now in Asia, in close by in those areas now, and I think they did that because they want to be able to have a much more in-person kind of thing when they need to, and not just be sending people over there. Actually always have someone that's based there that can kind of just keep up with these, with them in those countries and stuff, and be able to, just be there one-on-one, it was so disconnected, in the past with Microsoft and in Japan and stuff. Like we talked about the Xbox One, didn't come for almost until a year later to Japan.
Yeah.
That just can't happen. You
Mhm.
can't do that because
Mhm.
how do you can't, you've either got to be there first before the other console, or you've got to be there right next to them. You cannot
And their
let a
That's
Xbox.
whole
true.
year go by
Yeah, Wii U
before.
did better than Xbox One in Japan. That's surprising.
Yeah.
So, Austin, you got the last word, and then we're going to get to our BRP analysis.
I don't have too much to say left, but Xbox I think is trying to also not just make a big move in Japan, but they also got to regain ground in America. So I think Xbox, what they're really just trying to do is just make themselves more available to all these studios. They got Final Fantasy 15 this last generation. They hadn't had a Final Fantasy game on Xbox.
They got Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah,
didn't
now
they
they've
get Kingdom
got
Hearts? They got
everything.
Kingdom Hearts 3,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this last generation or current generation, current generation still to me. I don't have a PS5. I'm not that special. But I think that was the big thing, was getting like Final Fantasy games, getting
Yeah.
Yakuza, getting games and being there like Jesse said, being there day one. Don't wait a year. Don't you treat your audience the same basically, and I think they're going to gain
Yeah.
ground that way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Well, everybody, we're going to jump into our BRP analysis. I can see LeRon getting ready for this one because it's going to be a good discussion. So, I wrote a blog titled "Never Be the Same" that you guys could check on not Boss Rush Podcast, BossRushGames.com. It dropped Friday, so guys, do check it out. Give it a read. I would love to hear what you guys think. Put it in the comment section, or can you email us at bossrushpodcast@gmail.com. I would love to hear what your guys' thoughts, or even just hit us up on Twitter about that. But yeah, I wrote a blog titled "Never Be the Same" about Nintendo's and EA's relationship. How did you guys see their relationship?
Wait,
And
hold-
are there first party and third party relationships you concern or question you?
Hold
So,
on,
LeRon,
hold
I'm
on.
gonna put
Ed, you need to synopsize that just so the audience knows what's going on.
so Mass Effect Legendary Edition was announced for Xbox, PlayStation 4, and PC, and it will have next gen enhancements when the game comes out. Apparently, Nintendo Switch has been excluded from this, and it kind of I when I wrote it, I came from a disappointed stance about this because there have been people who've been wanting Mass Effect on Nintendo Switch and everything, and as much as EA keeps saying that they have a good business relationship with Nintendo, it doesn't seem that way because a lot of their releases and a lot of their announcements of games completely doesn't come to Nintendo. Even though Nintendo is a successful system with Switch, EA is still, it seems that they're still not supporting them in a sense. So their business relationship, one party says one thing, another party says maybe the same or another thing, but in reality, as gamers, we're not seeing that relationship that they're talking about being put to use and stuff. So, LeRon, I know you have a lot to say or you have thoughts on this, so I'm going to hand it over to you because I want to hear your thoughts.
Okay, well, yeah, I have thoughts. I don't have a lot to say, and it goes back to previous conversations that we've been having throughout the show. Like, there's a theme of everything I've been saying. It's about marketability and it's about accessibility. In all seriousness, just to go with your point about the Mass Effect remaster trilogy not coming to the Switch, I feel like there's a game plan for that. I feel like they. It's kind of what I had. It's kind of the come to Jesus moment I had to have with Monster Hunter World when they released it for the console first, and then 9 months later finally released it on the PC. Like they're what probably is happening right now is they've got different teams working on the development of the game because this is not so much a port, but it's going to be a remastering as well. So they have to best utilize their assets in certain ways to get the game to have a successful launch. And when I say successful launch, I don't mean like multi-platform launch. I mean a successful get out the gate and start making money for me type of launch.
Well,
Go
ahead.
No.
The thing about it is, and me and LeRon kind of talked about we had a preview talk about this, everybody. So I mentioned that if companies are going to do this, don't say it's coming to consoles and PC. Just say what console is coming out to and let it be that. Because a lot of times with their marketing, they'll be like, this game is coming out for consoles and then PC. And then when you dig deeper into it, Nintendo was never on that first version of it. Doom has did Bethesda has did this with Nintendo because we're still waiting with Doom Eternal. They announced that it was coming to all the platforms, but the Switch version got pushed back, and it feels like as much as we've been buying Bethesda stuff on Switch and you've seen the sales with it, Doom Eternal should have been able to come out on all three platforms at its original release. We know that you're paying somebody to port the stuff. The game is already done, and we understand the delays, but you should be able to get all three versions out on all four versions, I should say, out on the same day. And it feels like when it comes to Nintendo and third parties have their relationships with them, it feels like Nintendo's version stuff gets put on the shelf and been put on hold so that they could polish up the bigger boys.
See, that's the Nintendo fanboy part of you coming out, because I'm going to be because let's be real here for a second.
Mm-hmm.
The Xbox PC and Sony development kits for these games are probably so similar. It's really easy for them to develop one system and then immediately transliterate or transcode or whatever you want to call it to the other systems. The Switch, I can guarantee you, has a different architecture style. And number one, and you also got to remember, these things are being printed on cartridges. I really don't know. I really don't know how much more to break it down. Like, there's always going to be one system. There's always one system out there that's behind the curve. Last generation, I want to say it was probably the Nintendo Wii and the Wii U. I say that because technically the Wii and the Wii U were so similar to each other that their main competition was the Xbox 360, PS3, and then the Xbox One and PS4 until the Switch came out. Until the Switch came out, and then before that, it's just a weird architectural style. So they have to if the port process gets messy, they're always going to prioritize that last to work out all the kinks. Because I'll be honest with you, EA wants our money. They want our money whether we buy something on Switch, whether we buy something on PC, or whether we buy something on the big two consoles. They want our money, and with a commodity like Mass Effect, they put Mass Effect 3 on the Wii U, so I know for sure there's a plan for the Mass Effect remaster. I know there is.
And we were talking, LeRon. I said people have been saying, I said promise guaranteed sales, because people have said, and you made a valid point that guaranteed sales may be for one person, but it does not mean for the whole gaming community.
Yes, that is true.
But there have been people, because and I didn't get a chance to use this example, and then Jesse, I'm gonna turn it to you to get your thoughts. The way that Cuphead was done, and everybody was talking about how everybody would buy that game on Cuphead, they stayed to that word, because Cuphead went to number one and stayed at number one for a while when that game came out on Switch. It did okay on Xbox One and even with Game Pass, but everybody wasn't playing Cuphead that much. For maybe they was playing 2 or 3 weeks about that game. That mug hit Switch and it shot up, and people kept talking about, I'm glad I missed it on Xbox One to play it on Switch.
Okay, speaking of Cuphead though, like were you talking about how it's sold on Xbox? Let's be real. Xbox systems are known worldwide as Halo, Call of Duty, Battlefield systems. They are. There's a reason why Bayonetta did not do well at all on Xbox 360. There's a reason why games like, I don't know what the Xbox equivalent is of Bloodborne and Demon Souls, but those games don't do well. The Xbox is an American system, and most of us American gamers, we're into freaking football and shooting stuff.
I think though that's that thought mentality is actually where Game Pass was born, is because they wanted to be able to give people a cheap, intro into stuff outside of their norm of what they want to play.
Yes.
Give them that option to try it. And now you see a lot of people who have Xboxes talking about how they've never played this, but now I'm finally playing it, and oh, I wish I would have played this or tried this earlier. Oh, I would, like that. Ultimately, I think, more and more Xbox now is becoming something that's much more seasoned as a game, like as a gaming console, because of the fact that there's such a low entry point into trying some of this stuff out, that like honestly, like people just, not everyone has the money where they can just buy a $60 game without knowing anything about it and just say, well, it looks cool.
This is the thing about it, is that
like,
this is the thing about it. They should know about it because they're advertising it. They got trailers and stuff, and that's why gameplay trailers.
But we know how we know how trailers and stuff go. That never. It's not always.
Which Jesse,
exactly what you're buying.
Which me and you, Jesse, and probably you, Austin and LeRon, could agree with me that when we see trailers that is all CG, or it's just more, it feels like it's a cutscene and there's not really gameplay. That's there, and I'm not talking about Cyberpunk or nothing like that. I'm just talking about they got so many cutscenes that I'm going to literally be playing when I have that game.
Okay. We're talking about.
It doesn't matter what something looks like if it plays like crap.
Well, I'm talking about when you say that people don't know what they're actually getting until the game comes out.
Hang on. Let me say this so we don't zero in on this topic. With a game like Mass Effect, the Mass Effect trilogy, for example, we can see any freaking trailer and we know what Mass Effect is. So let's move on. Let's move on from that topic. Topic right there. With what Jesse said, yes, Game Pass is helping to finally diversify the base of Xbox, because I remember when I was working at GameStop, Microsoft asked us to poll a lot of our customers that buy Xbox games, and it was shocking how many people. I'm going to say out of 100 people, because I don't have numbers and stuff, but based on my store, because I was a store manager at the time, it was shocking to see how many people turned around when we read all the answers to the polls and surveys and stuff. They mainly only cared about Madden. They mainly only cared about Halo and stuff like that. It was like Xbox gamers came in and they only bought these things, and if they bought a game that was technically multi-platform, it was because they're like, oh, I didn't want to get it on my PlayStation this time. It was crazy to see the breakdown. Like Microsoft gamers on the Xbox platform were only buying certain things. And
I want to kind of preface this, because you might want to correct me, LeRon, but this is more adult gamers than kid gamers. People who are actually going out to buy their games, just to let everybody know that these are like adult gamers who are going out to actually purchase their stuff.
But going back to the whole conversation about Nintendo and Microsoft Nintendo and EA needing to break up. I think that's a bad take. The reason why is because EA knows how to make and market games, and just like with the Mass Effect thing, they know how to market this stuff. They're eventually going to give us the odds of the Mass Effect remaster collection missing the Switch or whatever Nintendo's current, because they might be waiting for Nintendo's next system to come out to drop it.
Well, this is the thing about it. Even when Xbox One was getting beaten by PlayStation, EA was putting games out
because they know where their player base is at. The same games that people are buying on PlayStation, they're going to buy on Microsoft's console. But
this is the thing about it. This has happened with 360, where everybody said because when you had low number of sales, third party was going to be on there because it doesn't sell because of the low numbers. Now that Switch has higher numbers, about triple or four times the numbers of Wii U with Switch. Why is EA still treating them like it's the Wii U thing?
Because the ecosystem. Because
Nintendo's console is still behind in power though too as well. So like, I mean now like we are at least getting this cloud gaming a little bit on the Switch, that I think is alleviating some of the issue, but there's still so many people though that need to play that physically on the console because they just don't have the internet,
Well, Austin, I'm going to ask you, what do you think of Nintendo's and EA's relationship?
I mean, yes, it is because it's behind. Because I'll be honest, I know Corey plays FIFA on Switch, but I tried, man, and I can't do it. Like I cannot do it.
A lot of people can't.
And so I think that's a big reason because EA sees like, oh, FIFA's not doing that well on Switch. We're not going to put Madden on there for sure, and because FIFA is by far the biggest.
Yeah, they can't
That's
risk they can't risk other AAA titles in that same genre.
Yeah, I agree with LeRon. I think Mass Effect will come to Switch, but I think they also have to do a lot of fixing with Mass Effect because everyone's got a bad taste in their mouth about Mass Effect. Because I remember all the hate Mass Effect 3 got. I remember all the hate that it got, and I remember, of course, we all remember Mass Effect Andromeda, all the hate it got, and so I think they're trying to retcon a lot of things with this deal, so they don't want a bad version of this game on Switch, because you know that if it doesn't run well on Switch, that's all people are going to.
Oh yeah, actually, wait, hold on. That's the other thing too. Okay. I just realized that as Austin was talking about it, it also costs more money to print the game on the Switch cartridge than it does on a disc. On a Blu-ray disc.
I don't think that matters too much because how many people are really buying cartridges on Switch?
A lot of people, because think about this. I can tell you right now.
I just bought a damn Switch game.
No, I can tell you right now.
The best game of all time.
Their sales were selling on $40. People bought a lot of those copies on Switch. The Witcher 3 on Switch sold a lot of copies on physical over digital. Like literally, if you go into Best Buy's like gaming section, Nintendo Switch, and I don't care what anybody say, that a lot of their games are gone.
That's not true.
That is physical.
I was in my Best Buy yesterday. No. My Best Buy is the only one in this area. Like the next closest Best Buy, we have to travel 40 minutes for. This Best Buy is always popping, and Switch titles stay on the shelf except for certain titles. Like I mean, like limited run games are always on the shelf. I mean, honestly, like the only reason why I haven't bought Dead Cells on the limited run games is because like you don't get the DLC.
That's weird.
Yeah, you don't get the DLC. You still have to pay for the DLC separate. So I'm just like, I'll just buy the bundle. When it's on the sale.
I didn't make it a bundle. Did they make a bundle one? I don't think they did.
No. There's times you can buy both Dead Cells and the DLC together. Okay. But the cartridge version is just the base game. The cartridge version is the base game.
Just the base game. Yeah, because I know that's why I was wondering, because I know when the originally came out, it was just still the base game, and I thought the DLC stuff was free. The DLC for Wargroove is free. Okay.
Yeah, you can buy the cartridge or the digital version of Wargroove, and then just go straight to the store and download the DLC for Wargroove by itself. But crap, where was I at?
With EA and Nintendo.
Okay. Mainly the main problem is that EA is just trying to figure out what's the best way to make sure that they can get the most bang for their buck on it. Because why are they going to waste the time to port the game for a system and it only sells like if it's. And Austin, how many times do you and I make EA the bad guy every week on Crossroads?
They're always the bad guy in my heart because they don't make NCAA football. So,
and before you go on, LeBron, I would like to say this about EA and their sports games. It don't matter what system their games on. Their online is trash. And everybody keeps talking about their online functionality is trash. I don't care if their sports games don't come to.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You can't pay me money to play a sports game online against somebody. No. You can't.
But I'll be honest. It's never about the online. I don't play online.
Yeah.
I don't play online.
When it comes to their sports games, a lot of people want to play their stuff online, and it's just like trash.
But here's
NFL 2K. 2 on my Dreamcast.
Yes.
But I have my PS2 set up for NFL 2K4 and 5. Yeah. Like I have both set up.
But here's what I'm gonna say.
I remember the first person camera mode where you like see behind the helmet and stuff.
But here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say like EA cannot risk being the bad guy. Cannot risk being the bad guy on this one by pulling out from Nintendo, from publishing on Nintendo. That would just ruin them as a company. They need to have the accessibility. They just have to but they have the right to pick and choose where they put their games at. So it's unfair to kind of say that EA and Nintendo just need to part ways, because that's not true,
And,
because EA does make Nintendo money. It doesn't make Nintendo money compared to Capcom or who's an actual third party developer that's been making. Ubisoft has been making.
I mean, but
Ubisoft-
Bethesda and
Ubisoft,
Bethesda.
Yeah, yeah.
CD Projekt Red, they made money because they were shocked on how well. As much as people laugh about The Witcher 3, I see and this may be just my social media, I see everybody beating and playing the game on Switch.
Yeah. Actually,
And
wait. The Witcher's only one
The Witcher
game, though. The Witcher is only one game on. That's the only CD Projekt Red game on the Switch. So I don't think The Witcher is make. I have a funny feeling Overwatch is making more money than The Witcher 3 is on the Switch. I have a funny feeling.
That's another thing.
As a matter of fact,
Overwatch,
Fortnite,
Does anyone play Overwatch on Switch?
I tried.
I know 3 people who played on the Switch, and I'm like, are you crazy?
I tried.
But Overwatch has started making a lot of people mad with some things, and I think that's more of the player base than the game itself. So,
but
the Hong Kong stuff did really change the community for Overwatch. It did cut it pretty good.
Yeah, but ultimately, I think honestly, EA and Nintendo need to continue their partnership, but what they need to make sure they do is they need to work better with each other. There also needs to be an understanding, because going back to what you were saying, Ed, about how, like, they said coming to consoles and PC, unless they say it's coming to every console, and this is where phrasing gets you everywhere. If it doesn't say it's coming to consoles everywhere and PC, then that means that we need to expect that it's coming to certain consoles at a certain time, and it may come to certain consoles at another time.
And that's why I feel like and that's why when you said it right with the phrase and stuff. To me personally, don't say just it's coming to consoles and PC, because I feel like if you're gonna say consoles, Nintendo is a console. Yes,
Nintendo. Switch is a console.
Switch is a console.
Switch is a console, but
with that, where you could take it out and play it in handheld mode.
But you're taking it to extreme, because, like, you gotta pay attention when you see the trailers and stuff. You gotta pay attention to, like, what they say in the trailer. If it doesn't say coming to consoles everywhere, then that means it's not coming to every console.
But then why would you just say coming to consoles? Because that's the thing.
Because a lot of people. Okay, and also as gamers, as a community, as gamers, we know where certain games are going to go and where they don't show up. We do. We know for a fact if let's think of. We know for a fact Octopath Traveler, that game was marketed as a Nintendo game, and we're shocked it came out on PC. We're shocked.
Yes. And the thing about it, and that might be the contract thing. We knew that it was coming to Nintendo because Nintendo just did the Switch thing, like they do every time they do it. I think with third party and everybody, when they said that it's coming to they're speaking it or writing it out. I should say, then doing the trailer.
Here's how.
Writing it out.
Oh, go ahead. Finish your thought. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I think when they're speaking about it and they say that it's coming to consoles or consoles and PC, they don't define what actual consoles there are. So I take it as with Switch being successful, that if you're going to include all consoles or you're going to include consoles, Nintendo Switch should be part of it. If you're going to only do 2 consoles, not Series X or anything, 2 brands I should say. If you're only going to do Xbox and PlayStation, just say it's coming out for Xbox, PlayStation, and PC, and do it in the fact that you're in your writing. I don't worry about the trailers, because the trailers will show what system it will come out for. But if you're doing it in your writing before an actual trailer come out, just say the specific platforms that it's coming out and then be done with it. Don't say coming to for console and PC.
I still feel you're just a little too extreme, because they didn't say it's not coming to Nintendo. They did not do that. and I think you would have actually liked it better if they said it wasn't coming to Nintendo.
What's going to come to Nintendo?
Now what bothered me about the announcement for the Mass Effect remastered trilogy is the fact that they said PS4 and Xbox One with upgrade potential, which means it sounds like they're not actually gonna build the port for the new gen consoles. It sounds like they and honestly with all the rumors that we've been hearing for years about a Mass Effect remastered trilogy and stuff like that, it sounds like they've been working on this thing for years, and now it's to the point where the stockholders of EA is like, hey, pull the trigger on this or we're gonna start making some cuts. That's probably what's happened.
Yeah. Jesse, I'm gonna let you get the final word, and then we're gonna get our game and get down, and then we're gonna wrap up the show.
Honestly, like I'm Mass Effect is a game I've always, franchise I've always kind of wanted to try to get into. I haven't quite yet, but this might be the time once this comes out. But as far as the whole Nintendo thing goes with them, I definitely could see it coming, to Switch eventually. But I think it's gonna, if anything, it's gonna be like a lot of these other games where it's just going to be a matter of they're going to worry about the main consoles that they know are guaranteeing them sales, as is, because if it needs patches, whatever, it's so much easier to just do all that stuff on the Xbox and PlayStation, and then when they have a finished product that's is stable and can play on the Switch, then they'll release it. I still think that kind of like LeRon said, that it's very possible they're waiting for the Switch Pro, or like at least closer to when that comes out. So if they do have, do release a cloud-based version of it, that fans won't have to wait much longer in order to be able to play a physical version of it. Because I think the whole thing is the whole idea of this game is it being a remaster, right? So if now you're calling it a remaster, but you're bringing it to the Switch and you're doing what they did to Witcher 3, where they just completely downgrade everything, it's not a remaster then.
I like the way you said that. I like that.
It's basically maybe a tiny better than the original version of it, but it's not a remaster because you're losing fidelity, you're losing, it's not what it's the product that's being sold.
Jesse,
before you go, LeRon, and we haven't actually seen the game in action. We only just seen the trailer and it was announced. So, go ahead, LeRon.
I'm going to say this. Based on what Jesse's saying, I would be mad if I get the Switch version of the Mass Effect Remastered Trilogy and Mass Effect 1 looks exactly like Mass Effect 1 on PS3 and Xbox 360. I will be so mad. I will be so mad.
Well, that's what I was telling LeRon and Nelly and David on Crossroads, that we'll know how much effort EA put in once we see gameplay of Mass Effect 1.
That's true.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Mass Effect 1.
Upgrade a little bit. But one, you gotta put some work.
Even in our Boss Rush chat, didn't I say that I want to see how 1 looks after this?
Everybody.
1 is the one that needs to work.
Everybody wants to see. Everybody wants to see what that 14-year-old game by the time the remaster comes out. Everyone's going to want to know how that 14-year-old game looks, because everybody knows, like, anybody can pop in Mass Effect 3 right now and it still looks like a current gen game.
Yeah. And nostalgia only gets you so far. You've got to prove yourself.
For real.
So
yeah. Well, everybody do read the blog. I want to know your thoughts. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I disappointed? Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? Do you agree with these guys? Do you think Mass Effect Legendary will come out for a Switch or a Switch Pro? Should Nintendo and EA keep their business relationship? I want to know. Like I said, you guys can email us at bossrushpodcast@gmail.com. What happened?
The chat there. You got to keep track of the Twitch chat.
Oh, good Lord. Andromeda is the best indie game.
I will say, Ed, I think you're right. I think EA and Nintendo have a really rocky relationship, but I think it's because Nintendo is passionate about everything they do, and EA is not. EA is passionate about nothing.
I like that.
And that's why And
Yeah.
that's why when I put in the blog that the way that Boom Blocks came out for Wii, that was a hit. Like it was a big hit on for Nintendo and Microsoft, not Microsoft, Nintendo and EA, and then just to see that they talk about they have a good relationship, but they
I,
don't release anything on the Nintendo platform.
okay,
So
well,
it's just
number
like,
one, I
where's
think
this kind of thing?
Boombox. I think Boombox is an anomaly, and every system has that anomaly. Like they have a game, every system has a game that should not have sold anything, and it becomes like a seasonal seller or something like that.
Cookie Mama's a big example. Cookie Mama, in fact, Cookie Mama put XC in Marvelous in the black
Didn't
when
didn't
yes.
I hear something about like that game only had like a $30,000 budget, and now that game has had like 7 sequels and and is everywhere.
It was $20 on the DS, and it put them in the black because if that game didn't sell, XE was going to be closing their doors, and
Mhm.
because Cookie Mama sold so much, it kept their doors open for
Mhm.
years.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's still kicking. So, but we're gonna get to our gaming get down. We got one game that we're all gonna bring. Jesse, what have you been getting down with? Because LeRon, I'm gonna say you next to last.
Okay, next to last.
All
Okay.
right.
Yes.
So yeah, I've played quite a few, but the one of the games that I'll talk about is I finally or I gave Mortal Shell a shot. Now this is a game that we seen a while ago. It's basically like a Dark Souls kind of game. Um, and it's very unique. Like it does the whole Dark Souls thing,
Hmm.
but it's unique in that they've kind of added. So like in Dark Souls and stuff, like if you want to block an attack or whatever, you have to have a shield. Or and then you can like parry and all those kinds of things are in this. But what's a really cool mechanic that they have in this game is you don't have a shield. Instead, like your soul can like harden, like your body can harden and like basically turn to stone. And what's really cool about it is you can actually do that in the middle of your attack. So like like let's say you go to do an attack with you go to swing your sword and the your opponent is swinging at the same time, and now if you just try to go through with your attack, you're going to get hit first,
Hmm.
and then your attack's going to kind of be canceled. So what they did is you can actually, if like you accidentally hit like too late, you go for your attack, you can hit the button and hold it, and then it will harden you. So then when they follow through with their attack, it just like bounces off of you. And then you can release the button, and then you'll finish your attack and get them back, or like actually follow through with your attack and attack them. So it's kind of a really cool like mechanic for something like that, of just being able to kind of pause, like almost freeze your body in the middle of an action, and kind of to make up for your whatever you could, the not pushing the button soon enough or whatever. And so the whole idea is like kind of like Dark Souls, like you're kind of the soul or whatever, and you take over bodies, like different bodies. Like that's how you upgrade your like armor and stuff, is you're taking over different pieces or different armor and stuff like that. And you can actually, at one point, when your health gets low, you actually get knocked out of your mortal body or your mortal shell, and you're like you're just a soul then. And you can try to, like, when you do that, like as long as you can survive and stay alive, if you get back to your body, you can repossess the body, and then your health will go back up just a little bit, to continue. um and like as far as the game goes, like as far as like the way things look and how it plays, I think it plays really well. um this is a game I'd definitely like to play on a Series X and see like a benefit from like a little bit more power. But I mean, this game I think runs pretty well, and if you like the Dark Souls or the Bloodborne type, like weird looking like characters and just creepy kind of aesthetic to the game, it definitely does that really well. Like I haven't seen a whole lot yet of the character models and stuff, but
Mhm.
from some of the stuff that I have seen, like they have some pretty like just weird, crazy looking characters and stuff that are just very, very, very much like Dark Souls and like Bloodborne and stuff like that, and and like the any of those From Software
That's
games
very
really.
nice.
But
Okay.
but yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like I'm enjoying it. It has just enough uniqueness to it, and like the setting and just I don't something about it just interests me way more than the Dark Souls games have. Because for me, like it wasn't until like we had what's it called, the
Remnant from the Ashes.
well, it's the see
Oh,
this game
Ashes.
this, yeah, the it's kind of more like that kind of stuff, but I don't know. It's very much a Dark Souls kind of
Same.
game. I mean, but it does add a little bit of their own flair to the whole idea, and I think it's a good enough change that people who do like those kind of games
Mm-hmm.
definitely should give this a try
Try.
and see what they think. So.
All right, Austin. What game have you been getting down to?
Well, I'm playing Borderlands the pre-sequel. I'm playing all the DLC because I never got into it. I actually really enjoy the Claptrap DLC so much that I'm making a song about it in my metal rap album I'm working on. So yeah, I really dig it. I really am writing a song. It's really inspiring me. It's a great piece of DLC. And so I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying the new guns that come along with it. This is kind of an older game, so I know, but the glitch guns are really fun. They're because you get turned into data, and you go inside Claptrap as like a data stream, and so all these guns that you get are also have weird glitches to them and stuff, but they're really powerful when they're not glitching, kind of a thing, and they're really fun. And then Luigi's Mansion
Oh no,
3
I just said one
on
game.
Switch. Yeah. Oh, one game. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. We're Mavericks over at Crossroads. We talk about everything we're playing,
Yeah.
unless we're like a certain Pow Block host, and he talks about 39 games in one sitting.
You know what?
I can only play 2 games at a time. I play one per console. I don't have anything on Xbox yet, but
I got my twisters. I'm gonna let that be that. I'm gonna let you get away with that shade. I'm gonna let you spill the tea, LeRon. So LeRon, what game have you been getting down to?
Oh, it's all about Mr. Miles Morales on PlayStation 5. Yes, I've been wasting so much time in that game. The game is only a 10-hour game, but I've been wasting so much time because I'm doing all the side quests. I unlock the cat costume, which which is amazing, by the way. Seeing that cat jump out the backpack as the finisher, oh my god. But yeah, the main thing is I thought because I hadn't played Spider-Man since I hadn't played the Spider-Man franchise game since it was new on PS4. So
Mm,
Hmm.
it was funny how like I jumped back into the game and I immediately knew how the web swing and all this stuff all over again. So the
Hmm.
familiarity was there and stuff like that. And the one thing I told a couple of people in the Boss Rush chat that we have is that like I've been playing in Fidelity mode, which basically has all the features and all this stuff on, ray tracing, all that stuff, and it caps the game at 30 frames per second. And I don't even care. I'm loving it. I thought I would have been like, no, I can't play in 30 frames. Like I put in performance mode. I put on performance mode, and I actually got dizzy for a second because it was smoother and faster. I was like, what have I done? What have I done?
Well, and with the animation of the suits and stuff when you're flying through the air, I would imagine that the 30 frames per second for a game like that, when you're going more for a cinematic feel, anyways,
Mhm.
would be would be fine. It would, like it wouldn't be that big of a deal compared to, like we've talked about, like, first person shooters and stuff like that are things that you want higher resolution or higher frame rates for. But when it comes to a more cinematic game, it's not really as big of a deal. So
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm loving it. But I'm gonna spend the rest of this weekend. I'm gonna play a little bit more Miles Morales over the weekend. But I'm gonna spend the rest of this weekend now doing a deep dive because I have a stack. I have a stack of PS4 games, and I want to see what this sucker does with PS4 games. So I'm gonna start messing with that. Like a friend of mine was complaining about some stuff that he was encountering on the Uncharted Drake Nathan Drake edition, which was basically the 3-pack from PS4 that had all the first 3 games in it. He was making some complaints about it, and I'm sitting there like, nah, you just need to get good. So I'm about to pop that in and see if it's right or if there's actually some weight behind what he was saying.
Okay. For me, I've been playing Foregone. I'm close to the end. I think I got probably about 2 bosses left that I need to fight. I got my tail whooped, but I'm getting my red items and doing some grinding. So that my plan is to finish that game up, and then get ready for next Friday because I will be returning back to Hyrule. That's all I can say.
Hyrule
And
Warriors.
yes, and I'm excited.
Hyrule welcomes you.
Like I said, please just let me know if the frame rate issue is fixed on the game, because on the demo it was giving me fits, and I was like, right now Nintendo's not gonna get $60 from me, and I really want to play this game because the presentation in this game looks amazing.
It does, yes. So that is going to be it for the show, everybody. Just you guys give you guys heads up. We are doing a show for next week, but the week of Thanksgiving we are taking a break. We will not be recording that. So and Power Block won't be recording that week also. I don't know about AX. I don't know about you guys at Crossroads. Are you guys going to be recording? But the week of Thanksgiving there won't be a Boss Rush podcast and there won't be a Nintendo Power Block. Because I feel like everybody should be able to take that week off to play games, do any kind of Black Friday shopping if they want to, and get ready for December because we got Immortals, we got Cyberpunk, and we got a whole bunch of other games that's coming and stuff. So kind of just want everybody to take that break, relax, and be able to enjoy that weekend playing games and stuff.
But are we getting Cyberpunk?
Don't do this to me. Oh my!
It wouldn't be an episode with LeRon if you don't mention that Cyberpunk's not coming out.
Do not do this to me.
Jesse, where can we find you?
You can find me almost everywhere as Phantom NXX. Actually, and now I'm working on some more music stuff, and I came across a site called soundclick.com, and you can upload music there. It's very similar to SoundCloud, and I kind of was just like, you know what, I want to my SoundCloud free account is like almost full because I have so much crap on there. I'm like, I need a place where I can put my music, like my finished product stuff. And so I did put my the Intervention album up on that. And if you search for Phantom NXS on there as well, my stuff should come up. So like you can actually download the album there. So if people want to actually like download it and listen to it, they can go there, and instead of just the streaming, like kind of like what the free version of SoundCloud does. So,
yes. Austin, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at PlaceDaustin. You can find me on PSN, the same name. You can find me on Instagram, but you won't see me post anything. I just do it because my wife's on it. Yeah, you can find me there. And then, of course, find me on the Land Party podcast that comes out on Mondays. That's on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get it. And then Trash Talk on Thursdays.
Yes. LeRon, where can we find you?
Okay, you can find me on various social media at Exodus803. That's EXODUS803. That's also my gamer tag for PlayStation Network, Steam, and a whole bunch of other places. I also, me and Austin and Nelly, and usually one special guest right now are coming to you Tuesday nights, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Crossroads podcast show for Boss Rush. You know, it's funny when I get in the host mode, I get tongue tied. But this whole thing that we were talking and you were just the host, I was fine. I was just throwing the words at you and everything. So, but anyway, yeah. So come back Tuesday night over here at twitch.tv/exodus803 and check us out for Crossroads. We're getting the topics ready for you. It's PS5 week for the Crossroads show. So get ready for that.
Yes, and you guys can find me on Twitter at ThatButcherCoach. You can check Optional Opinion on SoundCloud, iTunes, and other podcast apps. Also check out World One podcast on Podbean.com. Also check out 1v1, Nintendo Power Block, Arsenal X, Crossroads, betting, recap, and other podcast stuff on BossRushGames.com, and my writings and our writings on BossRushGames.com and on YouTube at Boss Rush Games. Follow us at Boss Rush Games. Follow us at Boss Rush Podcast. And everybody have a great week, have a great weekend, and as always, let's continue to play video games and be better to one another. And we will see you next time on Boss Rush Podcast. Once again, thank you, Jesse. Thank you, LeRon. Thank you, Austin, for coming on the show. And everybody, let's continue the game. All right. Bye, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.